Mystic, and welcome to the Jean-Claude and Janine Rumble Show. Of course, with me today, the amazing Janine. She's back from the Truth Tour, which you reported from last week. Of course, you can find her at tarotbyjanine.com and also on beyondmystic.academy. Janine, welcome back to the show, and welcome back to Canada.
Hi, Jean-Claude. Hi, everybody. I'm happy to be home, but I sure had fun.
How was it like sleeping in your fresh bed for the first time in a long time last night?
Yeah. I slept for 10 hours straight. Didn't even wake up. Amazing.
Well, I'm happy you're back, and I'm happy you're safe. In the last couple of days, I kept getting emails. Jean-Claude, is Janine going to make it safely back to Canada before all hell breaks loose? I was like, I hope so. But here you are, safe and sound. Speak about that, too. There was a sentiment of people leaving the conference, too, that somehow they needed to get home sooner than later. Why was that? I know there's a lot of ET stuff happening also during the tour, but what was that sentiment of urgency all of a sudden for everybody to get back home? Explain to
I think it had to do with what Juan was talking about. And of course, we just know like these, the end of October was going to be wild, and I believe it still will be. I know we just have days, but I'm thinking, so the energy's just ramping up and everybody could feel it. And I did some readings with people that were on the tour that wanted to make sure they were getting home safe. And I saw that it would be just in time everybody would get home safe. So I'm thinking universe has our back, and so does maybe the White Hats and the Alliance. I think they knew what we were doing, and they know energetically where people are at.
Hey, Bonheur 520. Bonjour à tous de Montréal. Hey, bonjour. French audience members watching the show. That's great. Hey. I love this integration here. Yeah. Okay, let me ask you this though, Janine. Before the show, before you went on the Truth Tour, at some point you pulled cards and you're like, ooh, I don't think the Truth Tour is actually going to happen here. So there was a pocket of time that enabled us as humans to squeak this Truth Tour in perhaps just before this crazy shift is happening. Why do you think that is? Can we pull some cards to see what happened? Why were we allowed to proceed with that? Because at first it wasn't looking like it was even going to take place. Let's see what changed. What can we glean from the cards on that? Now, of course, the tour, a big component of it was to bring awareness, raise consciousness, talk about the child trafficking. So there's a lot of great benefits to the tour. I don't doubt that. But why suddenly was it allowed to go through, or how lucky were we to find this little window to squeak it by? Go ahead.
It was like a little window, and it's literally just before. So there was a few things might have even got moved around or energetically changed time-wise that allowed it to, go ahead. Because the timing it was just before all the, what hits the fan, right?
Right.
Yeah, right. I feel like we had universal protection, and the universe saw to it that we got to finish that tour, and maybe even some galactic helpers changed some things around so we could do it. That's what I think, because we had some help from really higher up energetic places.
Well, let's talk about that. You mentioned meeting the ET that was wearing an Edgar suit in Roswell, and you mentioned that all throughout the tour, you were getting a lot of ET UFO sightings, even though Juan Otavan was saying, don't pay attention to those guys, just stay here in 3D. We'll get back to that in a second, folks, if you haven't seen last night's episode. But do you personally feel, and now that you're back home, have you had a chance maybe to integrate maybe some messages, some downloads that you got from either craft or from some ETs during this Truth Tour? What would you say?
Well, right after we saw the guy in the what I called the meat suit, that was on crooked, by the way. Everything about him was misconstrued. Like his eyes were, like everything was funky. It didn't look like he was wearing it very well.
Yeah.
Which drew my attention right away to it. And he didn't have a vibration of a human at all. But anyway, there was an arch of UFOs, and first spotted by Mark Atwood, who feels like he can call them in now, right? So there was this whole arch of them over. And to me, an arch means protection. And I really felt protected, and like we had really good UFO or extraterrestrial or other dimensional energy around the whole tour. So every time it was nighttime, we'd go out and look up after like a long day of chatting with people and speaking on stage and everything. In all these different places in the US, always we felt the same energy UFO wise following. It almost felt like they were the same ships.
Right.
So it really did feel like the energy followed us.
Wow, interesting. Fritz, Janine, so glad you made it back. Oh, wait, let me show that with you guys here. Thank you for the Rumble rant, I guess it's called. Thank you for that. Glad to see you're home safe, and good to see you and JC together again. Thank you, Fritz. I appreciate that. Janine, you and I, with Julie, we just finished your 2-hour marathon here recording the Astro Wu Finance. This is the reading, the personal zodiac reading for the audience members here who watch these episodes for the month of November. Now, there's a lot of energies hitting us in November. They're already hitting us now. We're in that pocket of window from that first eclipse on October 25th to that second one in November 8th. And then we have a new alignment for the end of November also. So there's a lot to navigate here in the month of November. But before I go back more into detail on this Astro Wu show, guys, it's available now for the Insider Access Pass members, and it's already now also for pay-per-view if you guys want to check that out. But I wanted to bring this up. We were talking about feeling these energies here in the last couple of days. This just came up here. This is the Space Observatory of the Schumann resonance, and it's ringing off the spike right now on October 27. I forgot. I was going to ask you guys during the Astro Wu what the hell this thing was all about here, if there was an astrological alignment or if there was something else. So let's have the cards here. Maybe take a glean at what the hell is spiking today on the 27th and what perhaps we should know about it. Let's start there.
Oh, there's that card again.
Yeah.
So many energies being focused, and they're all focused maybe in different areas, but the energy all seems to be coming spiritually onto I feel like the spiritual intensity is really heightened, and the energy is all primed for one of the biggest human experiences to happen on the earth plane, maybe in forever, I don't know. But certainly in our lifetimes. And I feel like all of that's being picked up by that energy. It's like all of that intended, focused energy we've all been waiting for so long is all ready to land. And it feels really intense. Yeah.
You know that energy when animals start fleeing out of the forest, it's kind of like they know before the earthquake hits. Is this perhaps signaling some of the, maybe take a second pull at this here. Is this also perhaps waking up the unawakened? Because we need more people to know what's going on here to be prepared for these big changes if we're all going to succeed in maneuvering all of this and making sure that through this power void, we don't get the same old governments reinstalled here. So we have to be very vigilant. Is this perhaps a wake-up call also? Let's see what the cards have to say.
Well, we got the Wheel of Fortune, which is heralding a big switch in our situation. And certainly for the kind of what we call normies or sleepers, they're going to really feel this because we already know this is coming. And we know what changes are potentially coming. Not all of them, but we know some of them at least. We're a little bit, got a little bit of a heads up. And see that Lover's card. So in particular around, so interesting, sixes are when you're asking political questions or big questions like what we're asking and not about relationships. They can be about political situations, finding personal balance and diplomacy. Okay, so there's a really big situation changing in politics, policies, and or what we believe is our political systems. So we're going to see that take a big flip here. And then here we've got the Death card, or a card that's to me like the Death card, especially when you ask big questions like this. We've got the Moon. So I feel like there's going to be a big reveal about why people are dying en masse, how many really are, that they stopped counting the flu. And it was just the regular flu deaths they were counting, and add a few people who caught maybe something they were sending around in various different forms in hot spots just to make it look bad. And they were mostly, the people being taken there were people with compromised health systems already. Their bodies were already compromised with other issues, and elders, very elderly people. And in some cases, it was actually the hospitals taking them, because you'd end up in the hospital with something, and you'd get a respirator or some series of events that created your actual passing. I think that's about to land. That's one of the things that's going to land, all that truth.
Wow.
And that's going to be like mind-blowing for people. It's already out there if they just care to look.
Well, speaking of that, there's this new documentary that's out now. I just tweeted about it a few minutes ago. Died Suddenly. And okay, I watched part of it here just in the trailer. I was like, whoa, that's frightening. They were talking about these blood clots actually not being blood clots, actually being parasites eating blood clots and creating in and of themselves a clot in your blood system that would eventually kill you. So anyways, that was just part of the trailer I saw. Fascinating stuff, but scary at the same time. But as you say, it all appears to be coming out right now. Let me bring up, let's see if we can bring this one up here too. In the Astro Woo Finance, we almost titled it The Eight of Wands. Why is that? What's the theme here with the Eight of Wands, specifically for the month of November, and why is that important for the audience to pick out here?
All of that focused energy and things we've been talking about, maybe for the last, in any way, year, sometimes longer, and some people have known about for 30 and 40 years, is all coming and going to hit at the same time in all of these different ways. So truth comes out, truth about the election comes out, truth that, like, everything hits all at once. There could be even things going on in nature that all hit at once, and everything seems to be coming around the same time. So I feel like that's what's going to cause basically the Great Awakening for everybody. Is everything hits all at once, and it flips everything, and all the false narratives are going to have to crumble all at the same time. So the Eight of Wands is all that focused energy.
Okay. Sylvie, another person from Montreal. Okay, we have a lot of Montreal people watching the show here tonight. Bonjour, Sylvie. Et bienvenue. Thank you for watching here today. Going back to the theme, though, you just said something about the Schumann resonance, that I was picking up a big change maybe in our government structures and the way we do things, the banking system. Folks, I wanted to draw your attention to the show we recorded last night. Here it is here. The October 26th tarot reading by Janine, live and uncensored here on pay-per-view. We got into the topics here of the Trump arrest, the potentiality for civil war, the false flag, the idea of not having an election, and the financial crash. So there's a lot in there, and that will supplement the conversation we're having today. So if you want to encourage us there, please do so. And we do thank you, of course. It's what enables us to be doing these free shows here on Rumble for all of you guys. So a big thank you there. And of course, the Astro Woo is also now available. And why that's interesting is not only do you have these Eight of Wands here, all of these energies being focused for November, the way we do it for each astrological sign helps you figure out where those placements are in your personal life and how best it's going to be for you to navigate them. That's what's really cool about these astro and tarot readings here with Janine and Julie. So do check that out and support us if you can. Okay, Janine, next news story here today. I thought that was interesting. I'm going to find the poster here, but it was Elon Musk entering the building here with a sink in his hand. And everybody say, uh-oh, is he about to throw everything out, including the kitchen sink, or is he about to sink something? What was the driving force behind that? So first of all, your first impression here of this coming to fruition. Where does this leave us here with Twitter?
Yeah, that felt like he was going to sink something, maybe a lot of their policies and sort of mandated ways that they take people off Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but let's have a look and see what the cards say he meant, because it could go a lot of different ways. People put all kinds of spins on that. I've seen several.
Yeah. And of course, I remember a couple of days ago, the employees at Twitter were asking for dignity and not to be fired out of hand without due cause. And I was like, did you guys give dignity and due cause to the people you deleted off of Twitter for not having the same political views as you? Maybe karma's a bitch here and it's coming for you. But let's see what's going on at Twitter with Elon Musk and the sink analogy.
Looks like he's going to sink some people. or sink policies. See that? Wake up call card. So he brought the sink in to wake people up who work there. That's a working in progress, who've been just sitting there not saying anything. So they work there, they see the policies and how unfair and even unconstitutional it's being run. Right? It's literally dangerous because they're putting out narratives that could have even changed a lot of things in the elections, a lot of things in people's opinions about getting the vax or not getting the vax. All of that could have saved lives if somebody would have spoke up, or more of them. Okay, so he's commenting to those who stayed silent and worked and said, I was just doing my job, and didn't say what they knew. Okay, this card stops from communicating because they believe their job's at risk or whatever. Right. It's like, you know what? Same as people in all kinds of situations in the world where genocide was happening. Just zip up and let it happen. Is that really what you do as a human? Until now it's focused on you. Now he's going in there. He's going to focus the same sort of basically he's going to sink these guys. Yeah. They're in for I think they'll go real skeletal and then recreate. He's going to recreate the whole from ground up, it looks like.
Yeah, he was assuring advertisers yesterday that it wasn't going to be a whole Hill House breaking loose. So he wants some stability, but he says also he wants to make the world a better place. And I thought it was interesting here because there's a lot of news. We'll get to why I'm saying that in a moment. But I wanted you to take a pulse again on this idea that Elon, through Twitter, would enter the payment processing game. That perhaps, as was forecasted before, and some people had suggested, that he would use blockchain technology, open source technology through Twitter to offer payment gateway services to the public at large. Here, competing with perhaps the old institution, the old guard, who are desperately trying to introduce their CBDCs and their furtherment of censorship through economic warfare. So is that possible that Elon is going that route?
I'm thinking a yes on that. This is a unique, so he's going to bring in a unique system. That's this guy fights for his sovereignty, by the way, or his own independent way of doing things. Yeah. Okay, so he's going to bring in something that's more sovereign and unique, and it'll be a success. He's going to be very successful at it. He'll do it swiftly, it looks like, and it'll feel like good news to humans, because here's the outcome for us humans. So it's to the advantage of humans. And for a long time, I've been getting that Elon, whoever this guy is that they're using and saying is Elon, it might not be the original guy, is working for the White Hats, even if it's not literally him, because literally he might have been taken out a while back if you look at the pictures. So the brand of Elon is being used by the White Hats is what I get.
Okay. And while we're on the Twitter verse here, first of all, I see another rant. Becca, Gal, and guys, if I don't get to mention it, thank you to all of you in the rats. But sometimes when we're doing the show, I don't see them scroll by and they disappear off my screen. So a big thank you to Becca, Gal for that rant there as well. Going back to this idea of this war that we're in now, this Saturn-Uranus square, we are facing maybe this last battle between the decentralized and the old centralized guard. Now, we're going to be seeing these energies manifest here, perhaps more so on November 8th. We can get into that a little bit later into the show. But I wanted to know if Twitter entering the game now under the banner of Elon Musk will give us an extra tool to fight against that censorship. Will it indeed bring back free speech here in this very critical time? Let's pull some cards on that and see how fast that can come about here. Now that, as Zero Hedge is reporting, Twitter is now Elon's baby, or Elon's the daddy of Twitter, I think he said. Go ahead.
Wow, that looks brilliant. Look at, we've got, she's sovereign and independent and does her own thing with pride and uses her own discretion on things. And that's a big yes. So I'm going to say, yeah, that's coming really fast. Fast and furious. All of these cards mean fast. And I think, again, to our advantage.
Wow. Okay. I'm excited for that because that means a lot of changes really, really quick. That'll lead me into my next segment, but I just saw something. Bonsoir, Jean-Claude et Janine de Nice, en France. So in Nice, France. I've been to Nice. Beautiful part of the world. Absolutely. She says, "Je vous embrasse, Margot." Thank you, Margot. I appreciate that. Oh wait, I was trying to show that to you guys. There you go. Je vous embrasse. So big hugs from Margot in Nice, France. Merci, Margot. Okay, the reason I'm bringing all that, let me see if I can bring this up on the screen here. Just a couple minutes ago, just before we went live, PayPal and Western Union here are filing trademarks to offer a wide range of crypto services. So PayPal, of course, has been in the news here and bleeding, hemorrhaging clients in the last couple of weeks with their attempt to get into the censorship game by essentially fining their customers $2,500 for what they decide is misinformation. So that's a whole other boondoggle. We talked about that last week. But here, both Western Union and PayPal preparing the trademarks here to enter the game of cryptocurrency. So on one hand, we're seeing perhaps the decentralized approach that could take Elon Musk with Twitter in terms of payment processing. And here, what appears to be the old guard tapping the shoulder here of PayPal and Western Union to perhaps introduce the CBDCs that are coming down the pike here and make it possible for people to actually use them here in the very near future. So that's what I want to know. Is PayPal and Western Union here, through this initiative, being tapped by our government here to be the purveyors of the centralized versions of the central bank issued digital currencies? Is that what's happening here? Or are they also trying to get into the game for their bottom line and they don't care about the Kasarian Mafia? I'm wondering where they sit, but I think I know the answer. Go ahead.
They're trying to get into the game. They're made a practical business decision, even though they were holding out for a long time. They made a practical business decision because they know that they're going to die in basically in the water otherwise. But here's what's actually going to happen. Here's that 8 of Wands again. Okay, I feel like the whole company is going to get taken over and be run by a more sovereign. It's all going to go the way of what's happening with Twitter. Everything gets more sovereign and run by people that have more integrity towards the human race, basically.
Okay. Well, they're going about it a really weird way. And let me explain why I say that. So let me see if I can get back to the other screen here. What was just out, and this is hard to validate here, but it was retweeted a couple of times here, and I'm trying to find this for myself, but it was just before the show. Essentially, they're saying that PayPal just put back the $2,500 fine into their terms of service here as soon as the outcry died down. And so there's a screenshot of that. I haven't validated this for myself. It was just before the show, guys. So if you're a digital warriors, you're out here watching live, please do go check it out and report here in the live chat. But is it possible that PayPal decided, no matter what here, with all the backlash they were having, they're still pushing at this? Because maybe on one hand, you're saying, yes, they're getting it into the crypto market here as a business decision. But before they get to that, they still have to play nice with the banking system here. And they have to start also issuing the CBDC payment processing services. And in order to be able to do so and to be tapped by the government as the sole source, they have to get into the censorship game. That appears to be the case here. What do the cards say?
I'm thinking there's something secretive going on in the background where they were told or needed to do that. Outcome, I think they're already sold out to somebody else, or there's already changes in effect that won't create that. I think that's part of the movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, this month is going to be interesting because, of course, the Bank of International Settlements, had reported this a couple of months ago, had suggested that the introduction of these CBDCs would be done in December of this year. And you and I were saying, well, in order for them to introduce CBDCs, the previous system has to be out of place, or at least dysfunctional to the point where people accept maybe moving into another system. So we're in that timeline now where they have to break something, crash something in order to present to us their alternative payments here. So November is going to be very critical indeed, as is suggested here in the Astro Woo Finance. Dave says, I love the Beyond Majestic symbol spinning in the corner. Beyond Mystic, yes, but it is majestic indeed. So Dave,
it is.
I love the double entendre there. Yes, and that was basically a gift. Let me see if we can bring this up to you guys. This gentleman by the name of Philip Meyer created my logo here in 3D. This is all stainless steel. And when I saw it, I'm like, oh, can we make a spinning logo out of that? I'd really like to have it on my screen. So a big thank you again to Philip Meyer for this beautiful gift. I really appreciate it. Okay, Janine, there's a lot here to go through today. Let me see if I can get to my next news item very quickly. Okay. Okay. So somebody was quoted earlier today, I think it's on the Toronto Sun, that Trudeau's reasons for invoking the Emergencies Act are falling like autumn leaves. So that was one of the quotes I read today. And of course, here, what was interesting was that the RCMP commissioner is explaining that there were still a lot of alternatives and measures to be taken before we got to the Emergencies Act. And I laughed when I saw that because, of course, I was made a fool when you and I said that back in March. I'm like, Trudeau had set out this press conference where he was condescending to the Canadian public. You know, saying, the Emergencies Act is not the first thing we do. It's not the second thing we do. It's the very last thing after we've exhausted all the alternatives before we implement the Emergencies Act. I still have that clip somewhere. And I'm like, what do you mean you're at the last one? You haven't even talked to the people on the Hill yet. It would be the first thing to do. Anyways, here the RCMP is agreeing with me that they had all of these other things, including a deal that had already been negotiated and agreed to with the city of Ottawa. Before they introduced the Emergencies Act. So again, even the liberal Toronto Sun is saying the arguments here are falling like fall leaves. So my question is Trudeau going to fall like the fall leaves and like his arguments on the Emergencies Act? Is his government wrong for this world?
My cards say he's already gone, so that's consistent.
Yeah.
Okay, but they're giving a way that people can really, even sleeping people, can really understand just how what he was really doing. So this guy was puppeted to do that, by the way, but they're trying to create awareness. Basically, it's like bringing awareness to something in a very subtle way. She quietly allows something to happen. And I think they need people to be angry enough and disappointed enough in the government to wake up to what they really are and who they really are. Now, this audience is already there. We've been there for a long time because change is coming. And there's some international justice coming for these guys because this is about diplomacy and justice. There's some kind of justice coming. And I feel like they're preparing and like they're putting out seeds of understanding in the general population, not us, but the general population. So when they find out what really happened to Trudeau and gang and why they did what they did already, I believe it's already been done, they're not going to all be angry at. They're going to see why they had to do it that way. That's my belief.
Wow. Okay, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, the way this world is unfolding, but I wanted to show this to the audience members. This was the, sorry, I have a cat in my throat. Is that the expression in English? I keep wanting to cough here for a reason. Trudeau's arguments for invoking Emergencies Act falling like autumn leaves. That was a quote from the Toronto Sun. I just wanted to share that with you. Let's move on to the next news story related to Trudeau here as well. The farmers out west are very vocal and very visual about their sentiments about Mr. Trudeau. So I don't need to read that, but you guys can see what's on my screen now. And that takes a lot of love and care. I mean, I've got Philip Meyer creating some beautiful artwork for me, but the farmers in Canada are doing really good work with their artwork as well. This leads me into this other segment, Janine. For some time now, it was in the Web Data reports that we would eventually talk about the concept of new Canucks, new Canadians, suggesting that we would have a newly constituted Canada. So perhaps we already have the stepping stones for that, with the Queen Lizard having left the stage here recently, and perhaps King Charlie Pants also leaving the stage here. Let's take another pulse on that, on the idea that somehow we would have to face a new constitution here in Canada. What can we glean from the cards there on either the timing or on the circumstances that could bring that to the forefront? Go ahead.
That's absolutely in the works here. Notice that card, it's being presented. There's going to be something presented. And I feel like it's going to come out right after big exposure around what's been going on with the children somehow with that sun card. But also the thing presented might come out right about the same time, which is pretty much coming right away here around disclosure that there's a gold-backed financial system. For some reason, that seems like the time to bring out, oh, by the way, Canada's no longer, at least in the way it was, because we were literally beholden to a lizard queen. Mm-hmm. Okay, so exposure has to happen. And then, of course, that makes everything, we had everything to do with the lizard queen, like null and void, and makes a lot of things like the whole government illegal, if not even demonic. I know that sounds wild, but that's what I think will be exposed. Yeah. And then, after a short time with looks like a military group, I think in charge of all the governments, everything changes and we're going to be a part of what happens next. So it's already in the works, you guys. It's already happening.
I wanted to get back to payments processors for a second here. There's something else happening in Canada. Before I do that, T-Bird says, JC, it's a frog in my throat. Okay, I got that wrong. A frog in my throat. Really? Cat. It's not a cat ball? I thought it was like the cat hair, cat ball. I don't know.
A fur ball.
A fur ball. Yeah, that's what I'm
thinking of. Fur ball.
Okay, okay. Yeah. Frog in my throat. Yeah. I should know that, right? Frog. Mm-hmm. Okay, King Charlie Pants, LOL. I love how you rename people. Thank you, everyone, for participating in the live chat. I love you guys. Hey, and if you like this show, guys, leave us a comment after the show. Let us know the topics you want us to follow in the next episodes. We're doing this for you here to try to build this community on Rumble. So let us know what type of comments and subjects you want us to follow in the next weekly shows. Of course, this is a weekly, free and uncensored, we hope, a show here on Rumble every Thursday at 4 o'clock Eastern. So mark your calendar and please subscribe to the channel also so you don't miss a beat. Going back to these payment processors, I heard that the Bank of Canada is putting together a special department, task force. They're writing the MOUs right now, memorandums of understanding, and how they're going to be basically trying to regulate payment processors such as PayPal, BitPay, and all of these processors that they currently do not control, right? So when you and I talked about this PayPal thing the other day where they ostensibly got into the censorship game by finding what they determined to be a misinformation, it appears that they might be doing that on the behest of all of these new legislations coming around from central banks who are now going to force them in order to keep their financial institutional charters and how do you call that? Yeah, charters or ability to work in that environment in the financial sector. They will need to engage in censorship moving forward per the rules and regulations of the government. Of course, BC 11 is in second reading here in the Senate right now in Canada. So I wanted to ask that. Is that going to be pervasive around the planet where central banks here are going to be forcing not just PayPal here, but every other payment processing services here to get into the censorship game? Is that still their plan? Is that in force?
So that was the plan, I think, right? But we've got another, what looks like a bit of a psyop to get everybody, all of the humans, aware of what these guys are capable of and what they do if they were in charge. I feel like with this in the background, that's already been handled. That's a universal timing card and a healing card. That's already been handled. I think now they're just trying to raise awareness that they were going to do that. And that's one of the things they would do to humans. Okay, because here's the outcome. There's a whole nother system that's not really going to involve those banks.
Yeah.
They're going to be cut out of this, but they had that planned and they're being outed.
Right. Well, that's good news. Okay. Nonetheless, or notwithstanding what you've just said, we've also consistently pulled the fact that we are going to be having disruptions in our payment systems for a period of time and not necessarily ubiquitous across the board. Now, we've had huge disruptions with PayPal in the last 2 weeks, but even the last couple of months, people keep emailing us, their credit card companies are not working, their debit cards are not working on the websites, and it seems to be accelerating or getting into a crescendo here. Explain to the audience why we're just putting up now this new poster here and a promo code here for the audience members here with respect to the Insider Access Pass, and why we think doing so now might be advantageous, given that we don't know the future here of how these payment processors are going to hinder our ability to interact this way in supporting both you on Tarot by Janine and here also on Beyond Mystic.
Well, that 8 of Wands says everything. It's like all those chickens out there are coming to roost or whatever. There's so many sayings you could say to that. But so all of these things we've been talking about land, okay, in various different ways all over the world, there's going to be disruptions. And in particular, I believe we're going to have some, at least a few days, if not a few weeks of, and I'm hoping it's days, but of disruptions around being able to access your financial ability. That looks really consistent in the cards. And you could even have internet outages, and it'll also be rolling. Remember, I used to get that. So you might have 3 days over here and then 6 days over here. It may not all be across the board, like blackout for the world, but it felt like it would be rolling. So you never know when it's going to affect your area and for how long. It would depend on the area. So I don't think it'll be universal blackout, but there's going to be these kind of blackouts, I believe, and also inaccessibility as banks change over, and some of them didn't agree to new systems, and there's going to be frustrations. So this is a way to ensure that you still got accessibility, and you can hang out with us still.
Stay Connected was the original coupon code you and I had produced last year, seeing as we were already forecasting these issues with payment services. So last call 30, guys, and one word, it'll give you 30% off here, the Insider Access Pass on beyondmystic.net. Of course, it'll give you access to these monthly Astro Woo readings with Janine and Julie. Just that alone is worth $300-400 a year in content. And on top of that, all of the pay-per-view series here, as you see on the screen, and much, much more to come, including the Beyond Crypto Woo also, which we'll be recording here in the next couple of days. So if these shows are of interest to you, please do go check it out at beyondmystic.net. And again, last call 30 is the coupon code. Okay, Janine, let's get into Crédit Suisse. So Crédit Suisse last week, we were talking about this in the last Crypto Woo show, that they were going to be in trouble. Of course, the Fed every week now are sending them a few $1 billion to stay afloat in the overnight markets. There's still some issues here. Now they're talking about these radical overhauls. Their shares are plunging already still. And this is just from earlier today, this last announcement here. And one of the things we were asking, and a lot of our audience members is asking, is where is this financial crash really going to start from? And for the most part, psychics, tarots, astro always says Europe, and then eventually hitting North America in a tsunami. And in the last show, you had suggested when you pull cards that there was unknown connections between Crédit Suisse and deep connections with the financial markets here in North America. So I wanted you to take a pulse on this as they continue to have troubles here. How close are we to those intertwined connections you mentioned having the same type of issues out in the open here in North America? Let's see what the cards can pull on that.
Oh, yeah. And I think it'll come out, those connections that maybe they didn't intend them to, but with that Wheel of Fortune, I feel like things are going to come out that connect them even more than we were alluding to. You know what I mean? With that card, you're going to find all kinds of new things to focus your attention on over on this group, which is, I'm thinking, going to bring them down. Like if you read that article, it looks like, just even in the little words I read there, that when you had it up on the screen, it looks like they're saying, oh, there's going to be purging and overhauls. Well, I think, never mind. They're going to have to change their whole dynamic and agendas, because this was in the middle, truly dysfunctional. And of course, a big part of the central banking cabal. Okay.
Right.
Who's totally been pillaging and illegally pillaging us through the way debt's set up, the way mortgages are set up. It's absolutely not at all legal as far as what we've been finding out. And I feel like all of that's going to get exposed. And
and you know what's interesting about what you're saying, purging won't do it here. It's kind of saying, oh, we're going to move the chairs around on the Titanic and hopefully it doesn't sink. It's not going to do it, guys. Okay. Well, somebody had a rant here. Let's see. Descaries, $2,200. Thank you so much, man. It's really very generous of you. Thank you, JC and Janine, for all you do. You are so appreciated. If Janine is taking personal questions, okay, sure, let's do it. And first of all, it's not possible for us to answer every question in the rant. So I just want to say that if you give rants, we absolutely appreciate it, but we make no guarantee that we'll ask or even mention your rant on the show. We just very much appreciate your support. I just want you to know we very much appreciate all of this. So the question here for Descaries 22, may I ask if I am a starseed and if there is any message from universe? Much love. Okay, so let's pull some cards for Descaries 22, starseed, and if there's any message right now in these critical times, perhaps as part of their mission or their role here in this transition. Go ahead.
Interesting. I'm going to read it as, well, we got the soft yes, so there's more to it than they're a starseed. I'm even going to say they might have come from and have had lifetimes and directly came from one of those lifetimes in a whole nother dimension, or if there is literally other planets out there. Like, it depends on, I'm still not convinced we're on a round planet and planets are going around the sun. I'm not sure that's true, but I do know that we're not the shape we've been told. But I'm not sure we're flat either. I don't get that either. I get it's something different. But so it could be dimensional that we're really talking about. So I just want to make that clear how I say it. Okay, so this person is dimensionally already from somewhere else. So they're living here, experiencing this human lifetime. But I feel like, and when it's time for them to know all that, it'll come out. But so that's a yes. Are they a starseed? And let's see, what was the rest of that?
Is there any message from universe? Anything they need to know?
That's a whole separate thing, but so let's look at that.
Yeah. And then I'll get to this other question on there as well. June 5-5. June 5-5. I'll get to that as well. So let's just finish the second part of this one. Any message from universe for Descaries?
Yeah, we got a big message here. So again, I reshuffled and I got the Wheel of Fortune again. So it's the destiny. When the Wheel of Fortune comes up, destiny, and everything they thought they knew is going to be totally different. A lot of us are experiencing that right now. But this is in regards to the question, is there a message from the universe? Your world is, and who you are is different than you thought. It looks like you have a lot to share, either through written word or communication. She is, she brings truth through words. And she doesn't hold back. She kicks butt and is very direct. Healing comes through her directness. See the little bird there? The bird is flying and set free because she has boundaries, knows how to have boundaries, and is direct. And it actually frees a lot of people because, tippy-toeing around and being politically polite and everything is not that's part of the slavery we live in.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
So, you're going to be a big part of talking about what you know, and you might not even know what it is yet, but just stay open to downloads.
Okay. Let's do a quick one on this one. Junie 55. What the heck is going on with the military in Louisiana and Mississippi? Nino was saying yesterday he saw Japanese, or his wife or girlfriend saw Japanese troops in Texas, the Texas airport. But here the questioner is asking about Louisiana and Mississippi. Can we just pull some cards to see is that a big show also, or is there something else happening there we need to know about?
And we should mention that last night on the show we did the pay-per-view, our regular show on the Monday and Wednesday. Jean-Claude and I looked into what Nino's friend saw or whatever, and it turned out it looks like they weren't this worldly.
Right. They were otherworldly, wearing Edgar suits that look like Japanese people. Yeah.
They could just be wearing the facade of, because there's lots of technology, if we're talking about other dimensional beings, similar to what we were picking up about people thought was UN troops. And by the way, then we got a lot of information from people that UN doesn't have troops. So that doesn't make sense. Okay, UN troops, that doesn't make sense. Okay, but they were using UN regalia because they were trying to out the UN, is what I think. Wow. And they were off-worlders. So let's have a look at, maybe this is what they're seeing and maybe not.
Yeah, guys, that was a fascinating episode. I brought it on the screen here. The October 26th, live and uncensored pay-per-view. Check it out. Really cool stuff in there, for sure. And it kind of spells out what's just around the corner. We looked at all of these possible angles here on the screen, and it was a fascinating show, for sure. Okay, Janine, what was it again? Louisiana, you said? Yeah, and Mississippi. Yeah, Louisiana and Mississippi.
Whatever's going on, even the universe is keeping it a secret. It's definitely tied to the good military, though. So maybe they don't want to out the play, but they got a play going on.
Wow. Okay.
And it's you don't need to fear them, is what I'm getting.
Okay. Wow. Man, this is going to be a weird month. As you were saying that, I had a big download, but we don't have time to get into that. Lee Nurse, Lee Nurse. Thank you so much. Hi, Janine, JC. Thank you for your voice of truth and calm. I appreciate that. Love your love and appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, question. 2 or 3 coyotes woke me up, yipping, howling outside at 3 a.m. a couple of nights ago. Was there any message for Lee Nurse? Coyotes 3 nights ago. What's a coyote in native culture? What does it mean? What's
tricksters? Like they're tricksters, right. And they're energy that wants to trick you into knowing something. So they trip you up and they tease you into knowing a truth, but they don't directly tell you the truth, or they more like they do something that's a little tricky to get you to stumble over the truth.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's see what DKE, thank you for that rant. I appreciate that. So let's go back to this. What was the question again? Yeah, message for her, Lee Nurse or him, I'm not sure. With respect to these coyotes, 2-3 nights ago, a couple of nights ago, at 3 a.m. That's interesting. The 3 a.m. mark also.
Okay, so yes, there was a message, and it's about somebody that this person knows. So this could go in lots of different directions. And of course, if I had an hour reading with them, like I used to do, I could, but they're going to have to put this together in their own ideas about how things works. I'm just getting a little piece of the puzzle here, but this person knows something, and the coyotes teasing them into trusting their instincts. They're very disappointed in somebody. Could be a man who's, probably has a lot to do with their income, whatever that means. So could be boss, could be employer, could be husband, could be partner, could be just generous male around them. But there's disappointment around something that person did, and they haven't said anything, but they really need to speak up about some disappointment they have and just air it out. Somebody could be using financial sort of they're financially above this person, and could be using that in a negative way. And they need to speak up and clear the air about it so it doesn't keep happening.
Wow. Okay. Speaking of clearing the air with finances, dude, I saw something last night that really threw me back. Let me see if I can bring up this poster. This was AppMex putting out this advertising to sell your silver back to them. So exclusive sellback offer. Yeah. And read this. For the next 10 days, so 10 days is interesting and brings us close to the eclipse, we are offering a sellback price of spot plus $10. Like, okay, these are retailers offering you $10 over spot here for silver. Like, I've never seen that, first of all. But second of all, I want to ask about these 10 days. Do they know something you and I don't know here? What's about to happen? Of course, in the Astro Woo, we looked at this conjunction of Mars with the silver asteroid here for the eclipse and big announcements for silver. So you guys can go check the Astro Woo for that. But what's going on with AppMex? So what do they know we don't know? Can we pull some cards on that? Absolutely interesting. And also, guys, while Janine pulls some cards here, if you haven't seen this episode here, the Silver Report Crisis Ahead with Bill Holter and Andy Scheckman, go check it out there, because they're also saying here something's really weird with silver. We're at the lowest inventories at the COMEX LBMA. Somebody's front running something here and draining all the physical metal. Janine, what's going on with that mix?
Yeah. So really wealthy people picking up on the like how cheap silver is and how big it's going to go. So they're just trying to accommodate really wealthy people trying to get in on the silver market, willing to pay a lot more. So they're putting it out there, gathering it up, and because these guys know what it's going to be worth and how little the dollar is going to be worth.
Wow. What you just said there is fascinating, because I asked Bill Holter, remember a month ago or 2 months ago, he brokered a $50 million deal of Silver Eagles for a wealthy client in Texas. And what was interesting is, by doing so, only $50 million only. I get it, it's a big number, but on the general scheme of things, a lot of people have $50 million to spend here, and they could clean out the silver market. And that's what happened a month and a half ago. They had to go through all the dealers to find sovereign coins, and we basically took it all out of the market. And I asked Bill Holter, could you do that order again today? And he started laughing like, no way. Impossible. It's just nowhere to be had anymore. Some of these dealers are now charging 100% premium on these Eagles. So even though spot prices at 19 or 20, you'll pay that on top of it. So almost 90% or 100% in premiums right now. This is showing you something is not right in the silver market. Guys, if you're looking at getting some physical silver here in your position, Bill Holter was saying also here, constitutional silver, a big advantage to have here during these crises. These are the first things people are going to recognize as actual money here, including the fact that it has physical silver in it. So check it out. These are the specials for this week offered by Miles Franklin for the Beyond Mystic audience. Constitutional silver at $11.49 over spot. And of course, if you're looking to bulk up, the 100-ounce PAMP Swiss bars, really nice quality bars, at $4.59 over spot. And if you scroll up the page here on beyondmystic.net/silver, there's a link also there to MF Bullion. That's the Canadian site. If you guys are watching from Canada, including all of you guys from Montreal, hello, bonsoir, bonjour. Yes, you can check out mfbullion.ca. And finally, yes, again, a lot of people are asking, are the silver bars for the Beyond Mystic collection still available? Yes, they are, only through this special order form. So if you click on that link and let us know how many you're looking for of each of the bars, and we'll get them to you promptly and safely. Okay. I see Carla's in the chat. Oh, shoot. Yes. Okay. Carla has a pyramid for you guys today, too. So let me see if I can bring that up on the screen. She says, I hope I made it in time. Okay. Yes. No, I didn't see it before the show. Let me see if I can bring this up. I'm going to reset my deck here. Hold on a second, guys. I'll make this happen for you. So, pyramid for one of you lucky donators today on the Rumble show. Let me see if I can bring this up. You guys, can you see that, Janine? Yes. Okay. Let me see. Wow, that's nice. Let me see. What's this? Ethan is the name of this pyramid from Carla.
Hey guys, this is Carla from Ascension Organize. Hope you're doing great. Today I have Ethan. It is the latest addition to the Divine Masculine series. It is made of tiger's eye, garnet crystal, brass metals, and the seed of life in gold. So Ethan is made to be a piece for giving a boost of energy, positive thoughts, inspiration, success, love, romance, all coming from a divine masculine perspective. So I'll give it a quick turnaround so you can see it. And there's Ethan. Hope you guys like it, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carla. I love that. And guys, if you're looking at getting one of these amazing creations in your own hands, you could do so at ascensionorganize.com. And if you use the coupon code Beyond Mystic there, you'll get an extra 10% off. Janine, we're already at the 55-minute mark. Long day today. You and I, we just recorded the other 2-hour show just before this one. Do you want to... why don't we do this? Right now, you and I are scheduled to do our next pay-per-view on Monday night on the show. And let's pull some cards here then from here till Monday night. Any curveballs we can expect, we should expect, anything the universe wants us to know here on how to manage some of the weird things coming down the pike. Let's end on that note.
So humanity, I'm going to go with humanity, or even our watching audience, something that'll affect everybody and could get to sort of come down to between two different things. So it feels like a touch and go kind of situation that's physical, and or it'll feel like it's physical, and it's touch and go that it actually becomes physical. And it feels like it's being thrown at us from, or at least we'll think it is, from the dark cult. And maybe it really is from the last sort of minions of, let's say, the Khazarian mafia and or, cabal, the bad newsers. Okay, something's coming that's hurtled at humanity. I'm feeling the word hurdle just popped into my head here. Okay. And I feel like it's a sad attempt. So I said, what was it? A sad attempt. And both of these cards are a little bit weak because they're not all the way to, they're both really emotional. So I feel like it's a sad attempt at that bunch, to some kind of backlash for something else that's been happening. I mean, we know they've been being shut down. Mm-hmm. So it's their attempt at trying to create or dominate humanity again, or bring us into a depression, or they want to downplay and get us into a place that isn't joyful. Here's the advice from the universe: stay joyful and in your sovereign. Don't believe for 1 second you're not absolutely meant to enjoy your physicality, enjoy this physical earth plane. They're going to try to take the wind out of your soul. I said soul accidentally and I meant sales, but I think I meant soul.
Yeah.
Okay. They're going to try to take the wind out of you. I think we got some kind of an attack by the dark cult, basically, let's say. And we're going to absolutely win this and or get through it. Even between now and Monday, I feel like cause for celebration in your sovereign and intuitive beings. So stay intuitive, standing on your own 2 feet, and don't buy that you could be harmed by this bunch anymore.
Right. And going with the theme there, we have a reversal of energies at the end of November here and leading into December, which is a lot of cause for celebration. So if you guys want to know what that's all about, yes, please go check out the Asrubu Finance for November. At every episode, we also take a look-see for the following month. And we did for this one, quite to our surprise, but also right there. What was it? Yeah, we were happy. What's the word? Pleasantly surprised? Yeah, I think, man, I can't speak. It's long to do these two shows back to back. I'm having trouble speaking English. Okay, what did I just see in the chat? Somebody said, JC, hold on, there's a problem. Let's see if I had it on the screen. Monday is Halloween. Let me see if I can bring that up. Yes, Monday is Halloween. So yes, join us. Hopefully, depending on how the circumstances go around the world for this 3 witches show. And perhaps 4 witches actually now, if we can pull this show together, depending on circumstances. So for now, yes, please join us on the YouTube channel for that. It's Jean-Claude at Beyond Mystic 3. And if for some reason we can't put it there because of some of the censorships and some of the people maybe, we'll do it here on Rumble. So just stay tuned to my Twitter and to my Telegram, to Janine's Telegram, and watch out for that particular announcement. But we're excited to put this very, very special show for you guys for Halloween's night. So join us for that. And of course, as soon also next week, Nostradamus and the Vortex of Time. This is part 2 of this new series of decoding Nostradamus here, both with Jay Weiner and with Julie from Maison Jupiter, who brings in the astrological content. Really, really cool series, guys. You don't want to miss that. In the meantime, you can follow Janine, of course, at tarotbyjanine.com and here on the beyondmystic.academy, where of course tarot level 2 is now available for you guys. I'm Jean-Claude at Beyond Mystic. I love you guys. Have a great day. This was the Jean-Claude and Janine Rumble Show. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and let us know how we did and what other topics you want us to follow on the next shows. Take care, everyone, and see you soon. Au revoir.
Au revoir.